Do you think Osimhen winning this AFCON cements him in that group, that Okocha, that Nwankwo Kanu group, where he's now among those, I guess, for lack of a better word, greats when we're talking about Nigerian football?
Absolutely. You need to win that to be in the conversation. It's not enough to do it at your club. Amokachi is an Everton legend. But what he did with the Super Eagles, supersedes that.
He's like, what, the first Nigerian since Kanu to win the African Football of the Year.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about moving forward, gentlemen. Of course, AFCON wraps up so shortly. We've got the World Cup qualifiers ongoing. What does this mean? What does this tournament mean, A, to the players, and B, to the teams?
I mean, for Nigeria, it could be a real boost for their World Cup qualifying campaign because they've been struggling so far. Right. And so I think this has to help them, their performance in Ivory Coast.
Sam?
Yeah, I think that for the players of this tournament, it showed, once again, we go back to that sense of, I'll use a different word today, that sense of community. The teams that have community built into their squads have been the ones that have been performing consistently well. Those teams that just have individual players that are coming together within the tournament, and you can notice it on the field as they're playing, these are just individuals that are on an 11-man squad. They haven't been performing well. So you have to now use this tournament as, okay, how do we rebuild community within the squad? But then also for our nation, how do we make sure that we have players that are willing to play for the badge? Because you have an Ivorian team and you have a Nigerian team going to the final because they're willing to play for the badge.
Right.
And then we have to see who comes out on top.
A couple of leagues have their seasons open in terms of signings. Do you think we'll see a couple of African faces out there?
There should be, realistically, and that's always a good topic of conversation. I think there should be some signings from AFCON, but there's that stigmatism that some people don't take the AFCON as a serious tournament.
Right.
And that's the stigmatism around
Don't
Europe.
you think the perception changed for this tournament?
Oh, yeah, it has, especially for those players that nobody really paid attention to, that came alive throughout the tournament, that made either the great saves as keepers or made great runs on the pitch. I think that with this tournament alone, especially with the teams that nobody saw as, the Cape Verdes, the Mozambiques, all those squads that came up and have made an impact, now you have certain eyes actually watching, like, okay, we actually can use somebody to fit this narrative how we want to play.
Coach Sam, on that note, what do you think of the chances of Nwabali, the Nigerian keeper, to be signed by a bigger name club?
Let's bring him to United, That'd be great. Let's bring him to United.
Let's make it happen.
Our clubs need him.
Oh, yeah.
He's based in South Africa.
Yeah, he's a fantastic keeper. I think that there should be looks at him coming out to Europe. I think that he can possibly even compete with some of the best keepers that are out there in the world per se, because you have to look at the saves he made and the timing of the saves, because being a keeper, especially in those large tournaments, it's not easy to do what you do. I mean, you look at Emi Martinez for Argentina.
Right.
Yeah.
Major saves. That's what cemented his legacy. So why can't we bring him to Europe?
Yeah.